Success isn't failing because you're lazy, unlucky, or not good enough. It's failing because no one ever told you the uncomfortable truth about how modern life quietly rewires your ambition, your discipline, and your sense of meaning. We're chasing motivation while avoiding responsibility, collecting information while dodging commitment, and calling it growth. In this conversation, Charlie Kirk doesn't sell shortcuts or hype. He exposes the invisible habits, cultural lies, and emotional comforts that keep people busy, but never fulfilled. If you've done everything right and still feel stuck, this isn't another motivational speech. It's a mirror. And once you see what's really holding you back, you can't unsee it. Let me start with something that might make a few people uncomfortable, because real growth usually does. If you want to be successful, actually successful, you have to take full responsibility for your life. Not partial responsibility, not I tried, but responsibility, full responsibility. Because the moment you believe someone else is the reason you're stuck, you've handed them control over your future, and that's a terrible trade. A lot of people today are exhausted, frustrated, and confused, not because they lack opportunity, but because they've been taught to outsource blame. It's the economy, it's the system, it's your upbringing, it's bad timing. And yes, life can be unfair. Bad things happen to good people. But here's the hard truth. Blaming reality doesn't change it. Owning your response does. The most successful people I've ever met didn't have perfect starts. Many of them had setbacks that would have been a permanent excuse for most people in this room. What separated them wasn't luck or privilege. It was the refusal to see themselves as victims. They understood something simple but powerful. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you are always responsible for what you do next. Responsibility is freedom disguised as pressure. When you stop waiting for permission, validation, or rescue, you realize how much power you actually have. No one is coming to save you. And that's not depressing, that's liberating. Because if no one else is in charge, then you are. This is where people get stuck. They say they want success, but what they really want is comfort without accountability. They want results without habits, confidence without competence, and progress without sacrifice. Responsibility demands action. It forces you to ask uncomfortable questions. Am I disciplined? Am I prepared? Am I using my time wisely? And if the answer is no, you don't complain, you adjust. Taking responsibility also changes how you fail. Failure stops being a verdict on your worth and becomes feedback. You don't spiral. You don't quit. You learn, you refine, and you move forward. That mindset alone puts you ahead of most people, because most people let failure become an identity instead of a lesson. And once you take responsibility, everything else we're going to talk about starts to fall into place. Discipline makes sense. Long-term thinking becomes possible. You stop consuming and start producing. You choose better people to surround yourself with, not because it's trendy, but because your future depends on it. Here's the bottom line. The moment you take full responsibility for your life, you stop waiting for success, and you start building it. Once you take responsibility for your life, the next illusion you have to let go of is motivation. Because motivation is one of the biggest lies modern culture sells us. We're told to wait until we feel ready, inspired, confident, or passionate. And as long as you're waiting to feel something, you're not doing anything. That's how people stay stuck for years while telling themselves they're getting ready. Here's the truth. Discipline works even when motivation disappears. Motivation is emotional. It's unreliable. It shows up when life is easy and vanishes the moment things get hard. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline is boring. It's repetitive. It's showing up on the days when no one's watching and nothing feels rewarding yet. And that's why it works. The people who win aren't the ones who wake up fired up every morning. They wake up tired, distracted, unsure, just like everyone else. The difference is they move anyway. They've trained themselves to act based on commitments, not moods. And that one shift alone separates dreamers from doers. Look around and you'll notice something interesting. The most confident people didn't start confident. They started prepared. Confidence is a byproduct of discipline. When you keep promises to yourself, when you do the work you said you'd do, you build self-trust. And self-trust is far more powerful than hype or positive thinking. Discipline also simplifies your life. When you remove the daily debate, should I do this today or not? You conserve energy. Your routine becomes automatic. You don't negotiate with yourself. You don't make excuses. You just execute. And that consistency compounds faster than any burst of motivation ever could. This is where people misunderstand easy success. Easy doesn't mean effortless. It means clear. When you know what matters and you commit to it daily, success becomes predictable, not dramatic, not flashy, predictable. And predictable progress is the most dangerous advantage you can have. Now, discipline doesn't mean perfection. You will miss days. You will mess up. The disciplined person isn't the one who never fails. It's the one who returns quickly. They don't spiral into guilt or self-pity. They reset and move forward. That ability to recover fast is a skill, and it's built through practice. And here's the part no one likes to hear. Discipline is a choice you make before results show up. You don't get disciplined because you're successful. You become successful because you were disciplined when no one cared. That's the price of entry. And once you pay it, doors start opening that motivation could never unlock. So stop waiting to feel ready. Start acting like the person you're trying to become. Because discipline doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are. Now that we've talked about taking responsibility and embracing discipline, let's get to one of the biggest traps people fall into today: consuming too much and producing too little. Most people think success is about learning more, reading more, scrolling more, watching more. And in a way, it feels productive, right? You're gathering knowledge, you're researching, you're preparing. But if all you do is consume, you're training your brain to be a spectator in your own life. You're watching other people live while your own life slips by. The harsh reality is that no one ever became successful by consuming alone. Books, videos, podcasts, they're tools, not replacements for action. You can spend years absorbing wisdom, yet still accomplish nothing if you never produce. Production is where transformation happens. Production is when you take ideas and turn them into results. It's when you write that article, build that business, start that project, or create something tangible from your own hands. That's how knowledge becomes power. That's how ideas become impact. Think about it this way. If you spend your days consuming content, your mind is constantly being fed other people's ideas, opinions, and priorities. You're learning what everyone else values. But when you produce, you're creating something only you can make. That's where authenticity and influence come from. That's where real progress begins. And let's be honest, producing is uncomfortable. It's risky. You might fail. People might criticize you. But here's the thing. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Production forces you to confront uncertainty, to make decisions, to own your choices. Every time you take action, you gain clarity, confidence, and momentum that no amount of consuming could ever give you. The people who are truly successful understand that the world rewards creators, not consumers. It's not about luck, timing, or resources. It's about execution. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you never act, it's worthless. The small steps you take consistently, writing, building, reading, solving problems, compound over time. That's how ordinary people turn into extraordinary ones. Another critical part of this is focus. When you produce, you learn to prioritize. You learn to say no to distractions, to trim away activities that don't move the needle. Production teaches you what matters most, because every project forces you to make decisions, set boundaries, and take responsibility for the outcomes. It's not glamorous, but it's effective. So stop being satisfied with just consuming. Stop believing that scrolling or binge watching or endlessly researching is preparation. Production is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Action transforms ideas into results. Ideas alone are useless. Knowledge alone is meaningless. If you want success to come easily, stop being a spectator. Start being a creator. Take what you know, put it into the world, and let your results speak for themselves. Let's talk about something most people try to avoid: discomfort. The truth is, if you want to succeed, you're going to have to embrace it. Everyone wants the easy route, the shortcut, the comfort, the path with the least resistance. But here's the thing, easy is a trap. It feels good now, but it always comes with a cost later. Success, real success, requires choosing short-term pain over long-term comfort. Think about it. Every successful person you admire didn't get there by choosing the cozy option. They got up before sunrise. They worked when everyone else was resting. They said no to distractions, temptations, and excuses. They chose hard conversations, difficult decisions, and tasks they didn't feel like doing. That discomfort wasn't optional. It was necessary. Because growth doesn't happen in a comfort zone. It happens at the edge of it, where you're pushed to be better than you were yesterday. Most people are afraid of that edge. They want results without the effort, freedom without the sacrifice, wealth without the discipline. And as a result, they stay small. They stay stuck. Meanwhile, the people who choose discomfort are quietly getting ahead. They're learning, adapting, and building resilience in ways that can't be taught, only lived. Every small pain they embrace compounds into freedom, confidence, and opportunity over time. Here's a practical way to see it. Think about your daily choices. Are you scrolling through social media instead of working on your goals? Are you choosing junk food instead of proper nutrition? Are you avoiding tough conversations or skipping hard tasks? Each one of these choices is comfort now, at the expense of your future. It seems minor, but it adds up. And the people who succeed don't let these small comforts dictate their lives. They defer pleasure today to create massive results tomorrow. The point isn't to make life miserable. It's to make life meaningful. Discomfort is temporary, success is permanent. And once you start choosing the small pains of discipline, preparation, and responsibility, consistently you'll notice something incredible. What once felt hard becomes normal. Your limits expand. You handle challenges effortlessly that would have crushed you before. That's the power of long-term thinking. Discomfort also teaches perspective. When you face challenges intentionally, you develop confidence and courage. Life stops surprising you because you've already prepared for it mentally and emotionally. The things that used to feel like obstacles now feel like opportunities. You're no longer at the mercy of circumstances, you're shaping them. So stop chasing comfort, stop looking for shortcuts, stop avoiding the hard stuff. The easy path only leads to mediocrity. Success doesn't happen in the safe zone. It happens when you embrace the challenge, endure the discomfort, and invest in the future you truly want. If you can choose discomfort today, you'll be unstoppable tomorrow. Here's the thing about success, skills, money, and opportunities are all important, but they can only take you so far. What determines whether you rise or fall, whether your success lasts or fades, isn't what you know, it's who you are. Character is the silent engine behind every achievement. Without it, you can win battles but lose the war. You can have talent but squander it. You can have wealth but no peace. Real success is built on integrity, consistency, and self-control. And those aren't flashy. They were invisible until you lose them. Character is tested in the small moments no one sees. It's easy to show discipline when you're being watched. It's easy to be honest when it's convenient. But the real measure is what you do when no one is looking, when shortcuts are tempting, and when no applause follows. The people who achieve lasting success aren't just talented or smart. They are relentless in maintaining their principles even when it's uncomfortable, even when it costs them something. That consistency compounds quietly over time, shaping reputation, relationships, and opportunity in ways that luck never could. One of the most dangerous illusions today is that results define you. Social media makes it look like success is a snapshot. One viral moment, one big deal, one highlight reel. But results are temporary. Character is permanent. When you prioritize results over character, you build castles on sand. You may succeed briefly, but when pressure hits, when failure comes, when people test your integrity, everything collapses. If your foundation isn't solid, no amount of talent or effort will hold it together. Character also shapes how you treat others. You can't truly succeed alone. Relationships, networks, mentors, even competitors, all of them are impacted by your integrity and how you show up. People naturally gravitate toward those who are trustworthy, consistent, and accountable. That influence opens doors that talent alone cannot. And when you combine skill with strong character, you create a magnetic force that attracts opportunity, loyal, thank you, and respect. Developing character is a lifelong process. It's about choosing what's right over what's easy, what's long-term over what's short-term, what builds trust over what builds ego. It's about learning to manage emotions, respond instead of react, and control impulses that sabotage progress. It's about owning your mistakes and making amends instead of hiding them. The more you invest in your inner self, the more resilient, confident, and effective you become. So here's the truth. You can chase every shortcut, read every book, follow every strategy, but without character, your success is fragile. It's the difference between fleeting achievement and lasting legacy. The moment you decide to build your character first, everything else becomes easier. Discipline feels natural, discomfort becomes manageable, production becomes purposeful, and opportunities start to line up in ways you never imagined. Your skills can open doors, your work ethic can push you through, but your character keeps you standing when the world tries to knock you down. Build that first, and nothing can stop you. By the time you've taken responsibility, built discipline, embraced discomfort, and focused on production and character, there's one more critical factor that will determine whether you reach the level of success you're capable of: the people you surround yourself with. This is often overlooked, but it's one of the single most powerful forces shaping your future. Your environment shapes your habits, your mindset, and ultimately the outcomes you achieve. If you're around people who settle, make excuses, or aim low, you will unconsciously mirror them. If you're around people who challenge, inspire, and push themselves, you'll rise to match them. Most people underestimate how contagious influence is. Your friends, colleagues, and even casual acquaintances can either lift you up or hold you back. And it's not just about positivity, it's about standards. The people who surround themselves with high standards tend to demand more from themselves and from others. They hold themselves accountable, they embrace challenges, and they expect excellence. And when you choose to be in that circle, you're forced to elevate your own expectations. It's not about competition, it's about alignment with the kind of person you want to become. Now, this doesn't mean cutting everyone out who isn't perfect. That's unrealistic and lonely. But it does mean being intentional about your inner circle. Who do you spend the most time with? Who do you turn to for advice? Whose opinions actually matter in your decision-making? If these people encourage mediocrity, excuse-making, or procrastination, your success will always be limited. On the other hand, being around high achievers, mentors, and people who refuse to accept excuses creates an environment where your best self becomes the default. It's also important to understand that your circle doesn't just influence your actions. It shapes your mindset. Exposure to ambition, accountability, and courage rewires your thinking. You start expecting more of yourself, dreaming bigger and tolerating less distraction and weakness. You see obstacles as challenges rather than barriers, setbacks as lessons rather than failures, and discomfort as the price of progress rather than something to avoid. This is why your environment matters more than your natural talent or even your knowledge. The people around you set the tone for what you believe is possible. And here's a key insight: success isn't a solo journey. No one achieves their full potential in isolation. You need people who inspire you, who challenge you, and who hold you accountable. But you also need people you can contribute to, who allow you to lead and mentor, because influence flows both ways. When you actively cultivate relationships with people who elevate you and allow yourself to elevate them, you create a compounding effect that accelerates growth far beyond what any one person could do alone. So, if you want success to feel natural, if you want it to be easier, start curating your circle with intention. Choose people who raise your standards, who push you beyond comfort, and who reflect the qualities you aspire to. Because your environment will either limit you or launch you. And once you surround yourself with the right people, you'll discover just how high you can rise. Your success is only as strong as the people you allow in your orbit. Choose wisely, and nothing will be out of reach. Success isn't about luck, talent, or waiting for the right moment. It's about understanding the rules no one talks about, the habits, choices, and mindset that separate ordinary people from those who achieve extraordinary results. In a world full of distractions, excuses, and temporary motivation, most people are busy surviving instead of thriving. But what if success could actually be simple? If you knew exactly what to focus on, what to stop doing, and how to build momentum every single day. Today, you're about to discover the strategies that make achievement not just possible, but almost inevitable.